to have this kind of a various governance agency to interact with each other, to get insights from each other. Two things comes to my mind, Gautamji. The first and foremost thing is, now we must create a convergence among us. No, unless you have that convergence, unless you have that synergy in place, unless, as I said, you understand the end-to-end holistic processes at large, unless and until you understand the holistic compliances and regulations at large, uh, then it becomes very difficult, in terms of sharing the data, in terms of getting insights of it, and especially in terms of doing its secondary use. See, most of the time, what I have realized is the department who collects the data, which is the primary source of the data, the value of the data is not at the primary source. The value of the data is always in its secondary use, right? And if you are doing a data's secondary use, you also must ensure that it is not the department or the ministry who is only responsible for that particular data, but also it is largely the users of the data should be made accountable, because you are using the data, you are doing the secondary use of the data. So how do you create a framework where you ensure that the users of the data is also largely responsible in terms of violation, in terms of breach, in terms of theft of any kind of a personal information of a citizen.
We can say if we have a NetGrid type of infrastructure or organization, the work will become easier, and India's fight against terror will,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. And if you can establish a system among ourselves where we can have a kind of a real time kind of a availability of these source databases, to flow the intelligence from that particular database on a real time basis to our agencies who are dealing with these kind of cases. No, I personally feel that it will be, as you rightly said, a huge benefit for the government at large. As far as passport services is concerned, as you rightly said, we have to not only make available passport services in India, but across the globe also, because we have embassies and consulate outside India who are dealing with passport services for our Indian diaspora who are living outside the country. But let's come back to and first discuss about what we did in the country during this entire pandemic and during this exigency. We had two, three no approach which we adopted. The first approach was, how do we make our system available uninterruptedly across India and across the globe. That was our first strategy. And the beauty of the Passport Seva program is that since this is a mature kind of a system, no, in terms of availability, the system, in terms of access and authorization, in terms of what kind of various kind of users and stakeholders. So we had no kind of a concern in that regard, because as I said, this is a stable and kind of a very rigid kind of a system available with us. The other part is, if you see during the pandemic, there are two kind of load. One is your online kind of a load, which is typically, if you talk about the citizen, the passport seekers, citizens, no, they have to first come into our passport portal, file their applications, schedule their appointment, and so on and so forth. So that part, in any case, I had to do nothing, because it is the same thing even today or even during pandemic. So that part was absolutely okay. Now the second part, where once you schedule your appointment, and then you have to visit to our Passport Seva Kendra for further processing. Now that part, if you see during this COVID-19 situation, there are many containment zone, there are many kind of a pink zone, green zone, and it was varying very kind of a intermittently and very fast. No, because of the kind of no situations every state and no every UT they were having, they are changing very fast, and we had to deal this kind of a situation. As I said, one is you have to be systematically ready in terms of technology tools, and other is in terms of processes. No, how do you redefine and realign your workforce, which is very important. And what our learning says that during that process, since as I said, passport seva system having these kind of training, capacity building, whatever we needed, since it was part of the program, we had to kind of a don't kind of a go into very kind of a lengthy exercise to reskill or to kind of a retraining our workforce to work on a kind of a environment which COVID kind of a scenario. One more thing we did, Gautamji, during this exercise is many a time we could see that, let's say for an example, I have to give some particular passport services in Patna, but somehow my granting officer or verification officer in Patna is, let's say, affected with COVID. Now I have to deal the services. For that to happen, what we did, we started some kind of a innovative thing in the system, saying that okay, some of my persons sitting at Delhi can grant that passport. So that we call cross granting during these kind of a exigency. So when you are suddenly shifting, let's say, from intranet kind of a environment to a internet kind of a environment, because most of the no new shift which we could experience is during this pandemic, most of your workload is getting access over the internet, right? Now, otherwise, you should have accessed this kind of a workload over a intranet, over a lease line circuit or closed user group kind of a environment. Now, as I said, unless you have your in terms of infrastructure, in terms of application, unless you have that kind of a maturity available with you, that kind of a learnings available with you, and then suddenly switching into a new kind of a work culture, new kind of a access and authorization, it really becomes difficult. But the good part of the passport seva is that we had this kind of a complete infrastructure available with us. We know our workload well, what is my sovereign workload, what is my non-sovereign workload, what is my fiduciary data, what is my non-fiduciary data, what is my public data, what is my configurable data. And I always say that whenever you are dealing with this kind of a big project, big program, critical data, sensitive data, you must identify your 5 Ws. I always say you must identify your 5 Ws, and these 5 Ws are nothing but your workload, your workforce, your workspace, your workflow, and your web. So once you are in full control of these 5 Ws, as you are rightly saying, building, bringing out new technology, enhancing your existing infrastructure, having to deal with some kind of a new exigency becomes easy. And therefore, for me, in terms of dealing with security and other kind of issues during this pandemic, and since most of the workload got shifted over the internet, the security framework which I had to kind of enhance is mostly on the web tier, because mostly the web tier got affected maximum. And as I said, since I had kind of a 360 degree kind of a security framework already developed and deployed within the Passport Seva program, right from my host layer to OS layer to application layer to network and perimeter layer, and then on top of that, we have 24 by 7 security operations center. We must have a data strategy, right? How do you share your data? How do you govern your data? How do you do a secondary use of your data? The problem is now most of these departments, now they have started defining their data strategy and data governance model. No, we must have that first. Now, when I am saying so, I am also hinting towards once you have a good data governance model, good data strategy, then accordingly you have to develop your workforce. No, which are the workforce they will deal the remote workload, which are the workforce they will deal with sovereign and critical kind of a workload, and how do you are planning their training, capacity building, skilling, reskilling. Then the third very important thing is, I always say that you must develop a digital ethics, no, because the moment you started, sharing the data between each of these government department, unless you have a digital culture, digital ethics, define and working within the organization, again it is very difficult to have this kind of a effective use of data sharing, data governance, data strategy. For an example, let me give you a example here, saying that let's say that the NatGrid kind of application, right, which MHA has come up with, and if MHA is seeking various government agencies who can provide data for the purpose of use by the NetGrid, then that means there are two three things comes to our mind. Is one is how is that you are sharing the data with no NatGrid, what are the data types you are sharing with NetGrid, while sharing these data sets with, let's say, NetGrid, how much visibility you may have, how much control you have, no, while sharing this data, and at the end, is there, no, you have complete kind of a audit and accountability, so that tomorrow, post facto, let's say something happens, are you in a position to deal with those compliances, those regulations, those laws of the land, so that it do not become any issue neither for the any kind of a personal information violation, nor for in terms of any data breach, not in terms of any data kind of a security or theft. So any of these issues, how do you deal with? You deal with some compliances, some regulations, land of the law. So unless you are in full control, full visibility of your data governance strategy, data model, uh, data sharing strategy, it's very difficult then to have this kind of a. I always say that you need to develop a trusted data ecosystem, and also you need to develop a trusted data workflow environment. Both these things to happen, first you need to understand holistically your processes, your people, your rules of engagements, your tools and technologies, and then you also try to understand the data, what kind of data you are carrying. As I said, is it your sovereign data, is it your public data, is it your fiduciary data, is it your confidential data, and if you are in control of these 3 4 directions, I personally feel there is no problem in terms of effective sharing and effective use of data between various government agencies.
It seems this NetGrid NetGrid type of infrastructure can be successful only if we have a holistic data management ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely. It requires, it definitely requires a data uh, strategy. It also requires a data management ecosystem. It also requires a kind of a trusted data flow environment. Let's say during passport issuance process, no, we send for police verification, right? Now, assume that I should have access to a centralized police database, right? Assume that I should have a centralized access of citizenship database. Assume that I should have access of a kind of a identity database like Aadhaar. No, how easy it could have been to issue a passport, because while dealing or a passport services or delivering a passport services to a citizen, what do you need? You need to establish the identity. You need to establish the citizenship of a person, you need to establish the criminality and other background of a person. That's it. So once you have these kind of a, let's say, databases in handy, and if these databases are interacting with each other without violating the security and privacy principle, just imagine how easy it could have been.